feel all these years later, especially when you see the film about the fight?
The Kim fight, yeah. No, Bobby, I'm fine. It's a very heartbreaking subject, as you said, but I'm fine with it. I mean, I've made peace with it. So, people say, do you mind talking about it? No, for a long time I did, but not now because it's been talked about so many times. And the documentary's been done, and ESPN's done, a few things. So, no. I mean, it would be very, I think it would be I'd be a bit hypocritical to say, I'm not going to talk about that when I did the documentary and the book. So, but yeah, it's a part of my life. Look, Mark Kriegel said it best. He said, I wouldn't be writing a book about Ray Mancini if he didn't have that fight. I get it. I understand. So there's got to be a hook. Why somebody's writing a book? Why make a movie about you? There's got to be a hook, and that's the hook. But I've come back and I've rebounded, and my family's doing good. And by all accounts, Duk-Koo Kim's ex-fiance and his son are doing well. His son's a doctor in Korea, and I keep tabs on him and doing wonderful. So, yeah.
I spoke to Emil many times about the Perret fight, and that was always something people asked him about. And you could see when you first broached the subject with him, he kind of exhaled and be like, okay, I've got to go through this again.
Right.
Does it get old?
Yeah, it did for a while. But I think now I have a different perspective on it, that it doesn't, and people are generally interested. Look, for Emil, people don't understand. There's a lot of fights. Emil was the most famous before that. And Ruby Goldstein, who was the referee, stood there while he was hung up in the ropes and let Emil batter him with 20-some unanswered punches. That ain't what happened in my fight. It was during an exchange, threw punch, boom, boom, and I hit him with a straight shot, and he went down. It wasn't like I was battering him around the ring or anything. So when people say, well, the round before, 2 rounds before, you went 30 unanswered punches, I go, I missed him with half of them. And then when I got done, he came in and started banging me, pushing me back. People seem to forget those things. So, but in Emil's case, Benny Perret was hung up on the ropes. There was a fight with the kid from South America, Jimmy Garcia, and Gabriel Ruiz. And Gabriel's a sweet kid. I talked to him after it, and I'm honored when people call me and they say, "Well, you talked to my kid," and I talked to Gabriel, and I talked to a few guys who went through what I went through after me. And I'm always honored to do that. And I told him, look, your intention, that wasn't my intention. Not your intention. You went in there to win. It's a brutal sport. And how you win is, try to get the other man out of there. But we're not, don't want to hurt we're not in to hurt a man permanently. And so what happens, all you pray, when a guy goes in, you pray and hope he gets up. So I had to get through that, because at that time, it was weird because I was everything that was good about boxing, so to speak. I had all CBS was my network, and they were pushing, And then after that fight, I was everything that was bad about boxing. I was the poster child for banning boxing. I said, Jesus, man, And I was in my 20s, early 20s, and then when comments that people would make, thinking nothing of it, hey, what's it like to kill someone in the ring? I mean, a bit stupid, insensitive, stupid. Now, obviously, but paying my parents had to go through. That was harder for my mother and father, So it was just that's the hardest part. But now I've gone through it, and my children had to go through it too when they were young. So, but it's all good now. I made peace with it a long time ago, and if anything, it brings more awareness about Kim and what a terrific fighter he was. And he's such a sense of pride for the people of Korea. And from my understanding, he's adored over there, and he's idolized. So,
when you won that title, and your dad was there, and he saw the belt, he got the belt, how important was that for you?
Well, Bobby, it was the most important thing in my life at that time. I tell people always say to me, what was that feeling when you won the title? I said, it was euphoric. It was a euphoric feeling. It was like an out-of-body experience. Can't explain it. I said it was the greatest day of my life. I had 3 greater days. You've seen each one of my children born. Other than that, that was the greatest day of my life. So it was just unbelievable. And the people of Youngstown, they've always supported me. They've followed me, and it was just wonderful.
And was it extra special for your dad knowing that he didn't get his
Yeah,
chance?
yeah, of course. You know, look, my father was a better fighter than me. I know that. I know that. But I was blessed to be able to achieve it. Maybe it was, you know, I believe in fate. I believe the good Lord has plans for all of us, and that was and the good Lord allowed me to win it for him.
You beat Jose Luis Ramirez,
Right?
What did that fight mean to you at that point of your career? I mean, I think he was 70-3 when he fought.
Yeah. It was like, and it was the number, and he had fought Arguello the fight before that.
Yeah.
Fought him in Miami, dropped him twice, and lost a split decision. So I watched that fight, but I had coming off I'd just beaten the number 6 contender, Jorge Morales, for the North American title. This was supposed to be my first title defense, but by all accounts, he was going to beat me and then fight Arguello for the rematch for the world title. They wouldn't even put, they didn't even put a betting on the boards in Vegas. They wouldn't even take bets because they were such an underdog. And I watched him, and I just said, style-wise, I always did pretty good against lefties. I knew it's a disciplined fight. You got to fight a southpaw, very disciplined fight. And but I always thought I was going to be faster and stronger. He was a strong guy, but it didn't mean he was going to be stronger than me and faster. So I thought, if you stand there to go toe-to-toe, lucky punch wins. In and out. So I felt I could outbox him, and I did. I outboxed him quite a bit. You got to win the easiest way, and that's when they offered me the title fight against Arguello. You go, absolutely. First of all, 2 reasons. As I said, just beat the number 6 contender, number 3 contender. But to be the best, you want to beat the best. How could you say the best if you ain't beating the best? And and if you want to challenge greatness, you got to go after greatness. You got to go after it, and that's beating the best. And Alexis was the best. I think to this day, I think he's rated in the top 30 of all-time greatest pound-for-pound fighters. So he was wonderful. I loved watching. He was one of my heroes growing up. But I felt I could be stronger than him, and I felt my strength and enthusiasm and my conditioning would be able to overcome him. But as in retrospect, Alexis, I would say Alexis sets traps early in the fight. Then I'll go back later in the fight, see if them traps caught.
Right.
And, he's a 15-round fighter. He taught me how to be a 15-round fighter. But I felt that, and he was hitting me with that jab. It was a jolting jab. Because that wasn't a typical, it was a jolting jab. And I said, oh, that hurts. But I tell people, I made him miss 100 right hands. 100 underneath, rolling under, made him miss. But it only takes one. But if you watch the fight, he started creating distance. He started separating himself from me. Separate and realize. And then at the end of the 12, he caught me with that punch. At the end of the punch, at the end of the round, dropped me to my knee. I got up. Going to the 13th round, my grip said, just move to regain. And I was just moving. You could say, I gave that round. 14th round, I jumped right back on him. I was banging him, but he kept his composure, and he saw the opening, hit me with a good body shot, and then dropped, and hit me with a good overhand right, and dropped me. And the referee at the time, I was hurt. I felt I could go on. I got it, but he protected me. He did the right thing. So.
Did you? And Alexis said after the fight, you're going to be a champion.
Yeah.
And again, same with Ramirez. Even though you lost, your confidence had to go up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And because what I gained, they say you learn more from losing than winning, and that's the truth. That one loss taught me more than all the other 20 wins before that.
Right. Bobby Chacon was such a popular fighter. Talk about that fight and what that fight meant to you.
I loved Bobby. He was, again, one of my boxing heroes. When he offered me that fight, I know he come up, but see, people don't remember, 82, 83, come off 2 fights of the year. Yeah. First one with Bose Edwards, and then with Bazooka Lemon. Yeah. 2 fights of the year. Great fights. Bobby was legendary. I loved Bobby, but I knew he was too big and too strong. So when he offered me a fight, I said, yeah, of course. And I gave him his biggest payday, thank God. Yeah. And but I just know it's too big and too strong, And I felt, but it's the thing, you can't go. I trained like hard as ever, like an animal. Never took it for granted, because with Bobby, if you could fall asleep on Bobby, you're gonna be in trouble. You got to be on top. I wanted to make Bobby fight. He was older than me. I wanted him to fight at a young man's pace, not let him fight at an older man's pace.
Livingston Bramble just passed away. Yeah. What are your memories of him, and how was your relationship with him later?
No, we became friends. You know, and most of the guys I fought, I became friends with. There was no animosity. It's a business. We're in the ring, but I didn't know. Livingston, we saw each other. And I saw him at an event here. Last time I saw him was in the event here in New York about 20 years ago. And we talked and shook hands and, you know, gave each other a hug before we left. And he just said, "Ray, it's so nice to be able to come together as friends instead of adversaries." So he was a good guy. And it's heartbreaking, man. A lot of my contemporaries are leaving me way too soon.
What's your memories of the Times Square gym? You were a kid,
man.
to the Times Square gym.
I loved the Times Square gym. That's where I learned to fight. Murphy Griffith, Jimmy Glenn owned the gym. Donald Hayes ran the gym. Ralphie Correa ran the gym with Donald. So I have wonderful memories. And that building's knocked down now. So the Condé Nast building. But you used to look out. You look out on 42nd Street. I always remember there was no TV down there. And I said, "What's that?" You know, and they say, "Oh, that's off-track betting." I said, "They bet on sports?" Yeah, someday they're going to be betting on my fights there. You know, I mean, that was my attitude. You know, so you know, the idea of going to New York, you felt like you're paying the dues. You had to pay the dues, and climbing up steps, walking up to the second story to the gym. You do it. I mean, you're just doing the grind. And I felt very proud and honored to be part of that gym. And I mean, that's where I learned to fight, man.
Anything you want to say about Dave Wolf?
Dave was wonderful. I love Dave Wolf, my manager. You know, I love Dave Wolf. He was different, man. He was different. But I'll tell you, he loved me and he fought for me. He'd fight for you. And, you know, Dave was a brilliant, smart guy. And he could match Bob Arum when it comes to wits. And Bob Arum said, "He's out of his mind. He's crazy." But because Dave could match him, Dave would ask for things, and Bob would give into it. But Dave Wolf, I love him. I always love him. God rest his soul. And but he did for me everything he said he would. And he got me that world title.